Hey friend, do you want to offer meaningful learning solutions that create behavior change, fit in the flow of work, and yield real results for your nonprofit? If yes, this is the podcast for you. Join me as I explore instructional design and leadership development best practices, as well as change management, belonging, and influence. If we haven't met yet, I'm Heather, and I've been in your shoes. I'm a learning and development consultant and founder of Skill Masters Market. Before starting my business, I led learning and leadership development initiatives for a large national nonprofit. I know what it's like to need to develop your staff quickly and effectively, and to build the relationships and cut through the organizational layers to be successful. And I'm bringing all of that to you in this podcast. So block your calendar, turn off your Teams or Slack chat, and let's dive in. It's learning for good.
Is training a change project? My vote is almost always yes. Let's say a subject matter expert comes to you and says they need a training. You ask some questions to uncover what's driving that request, and what is it that you typically find? What do they typically share? I work with nonprofits all over the country on their instructional design and leadership development needs, and I host a private community for nonprofit and association L&D pros where we have conversations like this one all the time. The most common reasons I hear subject matter experts are coming to L&D and saying they need a training. One, there's a performance problem. People aren't doing what they need to be doing, and so they need to change behavior. Or two, there's a new program, service, or process, and people need to know how to implement it. New meaning it's a change from what they were doing before. Both of these things, both of these situations means that training is either being used to drive a change or it's being offered as the result of a change. Why does that matter? 70% of organizational changes fail, and L&D has a role to play. So how can we in L&D use change management principles to improve the chances of success in training and in that larger change initiative? That's what I want us to explore today. Let's dive in. It's Learning for Good. How can L&D pros use change management principles to improve the chances of success with both training and organizational change? First, let's talk about what those change management principles are. You might not be familiar with change management. Some L&D folks are, some aren't. The ADKAR model is a commonly used change management model. And ADKAR stands for awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, and reinforcement. Awareness. Are people aware a change needs to occur? Desire. Do they want to make that change? Knowledge. Do they know what the change is? Ability. Do they know how to make that change? Do they have the skills? Reinforcement. Will they be supported in making and sustaining that change over time? That's what we think about when we think about the ADKAR model. Let's translate that to L&D. When I'm working with a client, I have to do my best to uncover the answers to those questions, but I'm doing it with a learning lens. So here are some of the questions that I ask. What do people need to do related to this topic? Whatever it is, this performance issue, this program, this service, this process, what do people need to do related to the topic? This is one of the first questions I ask because this is the sweet spot for training. If we're providing training, it's because we need them to do something differently. But our subject matter experts are often most comfortable in knowledge. So they might start to answer with, well, they need to know X, Y, Z. And as the L&D pro, we have to gently direct them back to the actions people need to take. What do people need to do? This is the getting to the ability part and helping us understand what the change is and if people know that they even need to do it. Now, that said, what people need to know is important, but it's important in the context of doing. So if your subject matter expert starts to answer with those no things, the things that people need to know, that's okay. It's just that we want to contextualize it in the thing that we want them to do. And so that's why I start with a do question and then move them into the no. What do they need to know to do those things effectively? Now, I also ask, why do they need to do those things? And what happens if they don't do those things? These questions help me uncover intrinsic and extrinsic motivators that might exist. And at this point, we know what the change is, and we know why they might be motivated to make that change. And that's when I ask, what would prevent them from making this change? Why aren't they doing it? Or why wouldn't they do it? Sometimes this question uncovers other motivations or lack thereof, but sometimes it also uncovers the supports they need in place to make and sustain the change. And those things might be a documented process or a job aid of some sort, a supervisor that's supportive, right? And the list goes on. Once I have this information, I've kind of asked these questions and I have a better understanding of what's really happening, I can design better, more effective solutions that meet the needs of the organizational change and the individuals being asked to change. I can then create a training and apply behavior change techniques to see real results. Results that have a higher likelihood of organizational change and improved impact through training. Now, I talk a lot about individual and organizational change because I think it's often a weak link in training. And so if this is a new concept for you, I'm going to encourage you to check out some of my other episodes on these topics. A few recent ones: you need social influence to achieve behavior change. Here's how to create it. Why change initiatives fail. Should L&D be involved in change management? And staff not ready to change. This one practice creates buy-in. I'll link to all three of these in the show notes. I would love nothing more than for you to go binge a few episodes and let me know what you think. Send me a DM on LinkedIn and let's strike up a conversation about L&D's role in change. This is so important. It's good for the organization. It's good for the people. I'll see you next time on Learning for Good.
Hey friend, was this episode helpful for you? Did you like what you heard? Do you want more content like this? Here are 3 things you can do. Hit subscribe. Leave a review on Apple Podcasts or your podcast app of choice. Share this episode with a colleague. This means so much to me personally. I read every review, but it also helps me learn what content you like most so I can create more of what you want. All right, turn that Teams or Slack chat back on when you're ready, and I'll see you next time on Learning for Good.